Alright, welcome back. So this is going to be a little unusual. Actually um, I actually didn't record my audio as I originally taped this, so this is going to be like a redub of the events on this mission. So to start with, this is mission number 9 on story mode. I'm actually nearing the end of my run since there's like only 1 day left on 1 hour left on the day, and after this next mission it'll be the final mission. So I noticed that my money is going to be pretty high, um, and money obviously or there's no use for money after the last mission, so I'm just going to be spending most of my money on upgrades. In this case, I'm considering just purchasing this buster chip since I know that one of the things that I didn't get to do during this run was find a server farm, where the server farm has other methods to hack firewalls besides Parasite, which was one of the starting incognito programs that I picked. So I do end up purchasing the buster chip. I do end up using the rest of my money to max out Anarchy, which actually is probably not that great considering that I only have 2 missions to go. This included. And then I have like 1,500 bucks left here, and I don't think I used it for anything. I sold off all of my ammo because, again, it doesn't seem like I'll be using ammo at all this run, which is not unusual for me. I don't use guns. I don't use weapons that use ammo very often, and I try to avoid it just because they're consumable. They cost money each time you use them, really. So yeah, I head to the nanofab mission over the other mission, mainly because I was hoping to buy some nice items here, like a ranged weapon was ideal. The security depot was also of a higher difficulty level, so again, considering that I actually am fairly weak, I want to say, in terms of character power, item power, programs that Incognita has. It's all fairly weak compared to what you might encounter on a level 4 mission, that I didn't want to do that rather than if I had an option of level 3. In this case, I spot that there's really no way to get around here besides maybe using cloak. Didn't want to burn it that quickly, so I went ahead and hacked the power supply, which didn't have a daemon. Thank the Lord. Here I'll go around, peek. Didn't see anything noticing the doorway, so obviously I can freely open the door. Went ahead and unlocked this door. I noticed that there's a doorway between the 2 rooms, so it's not really necessary that I unlock that, but it's just for convenience. So here, none of the doors are open, and I didn't hear anything last turn, so I'm fairly sure that there's no camera drones patrolling this area. So I make my way to this right hand side and peek inside the room. Nothing there. Since I'm at 20 out of 20 power level, I can freely spend some of that power to hack even the turret here, since I know that I'll be getting the power console next turn, and I'll have a lot of spare power. She's gonna explore this left-hand room, obviously, and Deckard will be exploring the right-hand side here. Like I said in one of the earlier missions, I don't like to have my agents explore the same areas. It's just a waste of time. Here I should be I think I moved Deckard to this area, right hand area, and explore the footsteps. I don't necessarily need to get power right now since I'm pretty capped, pretty full, and getting that power would be like really overfull. Banks is just checking out this area. She doesn't see in this room, probably no Pat, and rather than go down the length of the hallway, she'll probably be unlocking the door, and then the facility database is obviously pretty good for me to hack since I can see the layout of the room, the floor. Go over the hair. Again, pretty sure that there's no Pat in this area, so I'm pretty sure I enter this room and then check out this doorway. I don't know if there was a Damien. Okay, I see a bunch of things I can hack. The safe I definitely will hack because there's no Damiens on it. The other safe I'm not sure if I do. And the turret, there's no real reason for me to hack the turret because it's facing in some just arbitrary random direction. Here, this Pat. This Pat's facing this direction. I see the doorway. I might have to go to the door at some point. So I do need to take care of that turret power supply combo. I don't want to kill the guard. It's a little messy, so I will be hacking the power supply. And since there's gonna be 3 turns for me before that camera gets hacked, I will be just playing around with this guard, causing him to walk to my position by being noticed, and then moving back to the safety behind that doorway next to the nanofab. Yeah. This would be a little different if there wasn't that doorway that the guard was patrolling, in which case I wouldn't necessarily be doing all this stuff. And I think that's it for this turn. I'm at 13 out of 20 power supplies, so I think I'll probably be getting the console near Deckard soon. Alright, Deckard is, I did max his anarchy skill, so he'll get bonuses to stealing, which is why he got 157 there instead of like a usual 80 or whatever. As for her, she's going to check this area out. So this is the camera drone next to the doorway, stationary, it looks like. And it's in a really funny position. Anytime you have a stationary guard next to a doorway, if you open the doorway, they will notice it, regardless of whatever direction they were facing. Like, I guess they feel the brush of the door pass them by, or fade through them, I guess. But I notice here that if I open that door and the camera drone comes and checks it out, he'll actually be in the same direction when he's done. Whereas if I open the door in the bottom, on the bottom right, it's possible that he notices it, and then when he swings around, he's actually facing his current position, but better facing away from the last door of the room. So in any case, I think I eventually do decide to open the door just to see what's inside the room, just to check to see if there's any cameras, and there is a camera, which I'll eventually have to deal with. But eventually, I will be opening the bottom side door in the hopes of positioning the camera drone correctly. And here, I think I moved Deckard to the bottom right. or the bottom left to get some more power, since he's basically going to be waiting for the camera to unlock access to the rest of the facility. Here I'm debating what stuff I should be hacking next turn. I think I end up definitely hacking the camera. Yep, hack the camera. Definitely hacking the turret, or the power supply. And then probably even hacking the safe. I like to hack Damien's all at one turn, so that if I encounter Damien that is that causes me to not be able to use Incognita, all the parasites are already on the stuff that I want to eventually hack. So yeah, parasites is pretty good in that sense, where some of the Damiens that lock you out of your ability to hack, you already are like prepped for it. Those turns like this, basically the 6 turns where I would be forced to have more power used when hacking. 2 of those 6 turns are already countered by the fact that I can't even use Incognita. So Parasite is pretty useful, especially if you can stack parasites that trigger Damiens at once. Alright, here so this is going to be a little weird looking. I noticed that the guard, I don't actually want to pick this guard's pocket, because Deckard has maxed Anarchy, and he'll get bonuses for picking the guard and possible items. So I'm going to move Deckard all the way over to where Banks is in order to pick that guard. And then I think Banks will switch off areas with Deckard. And the other reason why I do this is because the camera parasite still has 2 more turns in order to break that camera that was in the area of the pat guard, the patrolling guard. So I know that Deckard can't actually explore that area for a couple turns, so he might as well just transition to this area and maybe get some more loots. I also noticed that the guard in that room is facing in that direction, and I can spin him around if I go into that one notice area and exit the room. And it'll take him a couple turns to do that spin. And that's pretty much it. There's a tricky thing here where I need to worry about the fact that that camera drone, if he notices the bottom right hand doorway and I spin him around and he's facing the open doorway currently, that I somehow need to close that doorway. So I was debating how I was going to do that. In the end, it turns out to be a moot point, because as Deckard is about to see, the camera drone doesn't actually, as Deckard is about to check on the bottom doorway, I'm fairly certain, the camera drone won't be actually noticing the door. Like, it's just around the corner of a wall. Yeah, so I'm debating what would happen if I have an open doorway. So yeah, she's gonna close the doorway now. I anticipate that because I want him to notice that doorway close and then notice this doorway opening and check out this doorway opening. Yeah. And to my disappointment, he doesn't actually notice this doorway being opening. So he's just going to be going around to where Banks is right now one more time, which is utterly pointless because then I can't access this doorway. So at that point I realized there's no getting around this camera drone. I'm just going to have to kill it with my EMP. So she has an EMP item. She's just going to drop it on the ground. It's going to blow up. The camera drone's going to die. The other thing here is the camera is a little annoying. It's going to turn on like next turn, so I won't be actually able to explore this area until that camera is off. I'm not exactly sure why I moved Banks in that direction. It was probably because I didn't realize that the camera was going to take the returns. Or I think I might have actually been expecting that the EMP would have turned off the camera, but no such luck. Yep. Okay, so here I have 16 power. Use 3 power to, because of the Damien on me, use 3 power to hack that safe that I'm going to, and another 4 power to hack that camera, or to start the process of hacking that camera. 192 credits there, and yeah, I'm gonna, as I go here, I quickly realized that I probably should have used just a buster chip right there. But regardless, since it's going to unlock next turn, I'll just not. And Banks is just going to, instead of wait 3 turns at this doorway, have Deckard eventually check that area out, and Banks go into the other area. Again, this was, yeah. Here, this guy's patrolling. I do spend, I think, the 5 power just to unlock this camera because I know next turn Deckard is next to that console, and I'm gonna have to. I'll be awash in power. Nothing notices the door, so I open it. I see this dude. Anytime I see a stationary dude, the first thought that goes through my mind is how I can spin him around to a location where it's safe for me to explore the room, or take stuff from the room. But this being an elite guard, him being spun around is not gonna be much help for me. So what I eventually decided to do is I'm gonna use my buster chip to hack into the firewall in the safe, and use cloak to actually steal from the safe. At which point I don't need to worry about spinning him. It's really hard to the only real way for you to move around one of these guards that don't have a notice zone but has a full watch zone is through sound, like either with an object that creates sound or by running next to them. I wasn't going to do that because, well, a couple of reasons. One, it would have been safe with the extra guard on the other end of that corridor, and also because, like, wherever I spun him, it wouldn't have been enough for me to to access that save. So yeah, just cloak. Cloak lasts 4 turns or 4 movements, and yeah, that was good enough for that. As for her, she moves over here. She visits the vendor to drop off some of this junk. I'm not a fan of stim, so I definitely sell that. I look at what's in there. I see the Volt Disruptor. I'm not a fan of Volt Disruptors. I don't like having to use power to access my melee weapons. So yeah, even if it's a level 2. The Buster Chip and the Silver Chip I do consider because it is level 3. I'm really considering the Buster Chip, I believe. And I do decide not to hang on to the level 1 Disruptor because I don't need that sort of redundancy. Level 3 is very good because it already has a 2-turn cooldown and level 2 armor piercing. I do actually notice this torque injector, and the torque injector seems to be an awfully good item. I've never considered it before, but I noticed that with my disruptor it would be basically a disruptor attack every turn if I wanted it. So just based on that combo, I was highly considering it, and I think I ended up deciding not to on Banks just because I'm not actually sure now why. Just because she doesn't melee all that often, actually. Anyway, she moves to this area to hide behind that wall. Before I start using power on that, hacking that console for power, it's probably going to cause me go over full, so I decided to toss out Damien, or Parasite. And yeah, that was a lot of power, so. Alright, so Deckard's gonna keep on moving in this area. Next turn is, I think, when the camera will finally turn off, so he'll be right there ready to explore that area. And as for her, I actually notice here, like, I'm considering what to do about getting past this guard if necessary, or I notice that that sight means there's another guard behind that door. This being a nanofab, that room has to be the nanofab room because, like, I haven't encountered the nanofab room and that looks like the nanofab room. I'm actually considering, just because, like, I look at the overall layout of the map and there's only one little bit left. I decided to actually just melee him and like use Paralyzer him because I'm actually very close to the end of the level, and I don't think that I need to be worried about having to be tied down to this guard. So I guess one of the things that you learn with more experience in this game is you never really want to knock anyone out unless you have to, or you have a specific plan after you knock them out of what you're going to do with that body. Because having guards just run around randomly is a recipe for disaster. You can't control them. They can just randomly show up whenever you want to pass by some area, and it just ruins your timing. So a couple ways that you deal with that is using paralyzers, where you increase the knockout time, and then stacking those paralyzers up to a point where whenever that guard wakes up, it'll be past the end of the mission. So he checks that room, finds there's nothing, so he goes back. So yeah, paralyzers, I end up using them multiple times if I knock out someone early, or I end up knocking out people late, expecting that I will exit the building before they wake up. And that the latter was the case for that guard. I noticed that I'm basically like 3 turns away from exiting, maybe 4. So the knockout plus the knockout 2 turns plus the paralyzer of 3 turns should be good enough. Right, that guy is out for 6 turns. That should be plenty good for me to exit. Alright, going to this, the nanofab room. Guard stationary. He's gonna go towards the doorway, check it out, and head back to his position. And here, I did make a mistake, I think, of stealing from the body. I realized here I should have stole using Deckard, but that's fine. The other thing I'm considering here is actually running, and it looks safe, but a lot of times I find that I actually forget guard positioning, and me running causes them to be alerted. So here I just decided not to, just because I can't remember all the guards where they were. Here I'm checking out this guy. I considered going to him, but like I know that I'm going to be stealing with Deckard since he has the anarchy skill, so I'm not going to do that. I do decide to, I think, move here and get the power. The chance for an extra like item from these power places, I don't think it actually ties with your hacking ability. So even if you have hacking 1 or hacking 2, you have the same chance of getting it. I go to the nanofab here, start throwing away items. And since I'm about to check out the nanofab, I don't think I want anything from that vendor, and just save my money for any items, any good items that I see on the big shop. 6 turns again is plenty, so I decide to just check out this thing and avoid the chance for a tracker raise from that power console. So here, I'm excited to see what I get, and what I get is no weapons. No weapons that are ranged, anyways, that are any good. I prefer the bio darts because they don't rely on ammo, or the energy gun that has the ability to fire 1 shot for the whole turn, or sorry, for 1 shot for the whole mission, but it is, doesn't use ammo. The bio darts are good for knocking out guards. The energy pistol, possibly renamed after the patch, but it was called energy pistol before. It's good for killing drones basically, because drones don't raise tracker, but they can't be knocked out. So didn't see either of those, which was disappointing. I considered purchasing this Nero Disruptor, but then I realized that the Nero Disruptor isn't actually any better than the augment that I saw. The augment that I saw would basically be the equivalent of having Nero Disruptor every turn. So I decided to not purchase anything from here, and considering that the augment also decreased any inventory item use, I realized that I should probably purchase that instead. So I wanted it on Deckard, and I wanted to buy the augment on Deckard because Deckard has more items. He uses more items. So I run Deckard back. Should have used Rand right there. Buy the augment that decreases my inventory. or my inventory cooldown, and then head over to the other shop. Alright, and I'm not going to steal from him because, again, Deckard is going to steal from him. And that's pretty much the level, really. Deckard's gonna check this body, sees that I did in fact loot him. Close the doorway, check out the shop again, I think. And then here's the thing. When I checked out the shop the second time, or okay, he's gonna not talk. Okay, Deckard shouldn't have moved that way. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Did I forget to tell Deckard to steal from the guy? Okay, yeah, Deckard, yeah, there we go. He steals. He goes to the shop to sell off this ammo before exiting the building. And as he does so, I suddenly realized that the stim that is labeled stim 2 is actually stim level 3. And stim level 3 is actually very good because it refreshes a lot of AP, has a very low cooldown, and it refreshes your attack if you need it. I also purchased the Buster chip. Just because I know that I'm going to be doing my final mission and all this unused money is not going to be necessary. Could have bought the plasma gun as well, but yeah. So I dropped the pass card and purchased them. Alright, so that's the end of the level. It was fairly clean. Unfortunately, like I said, I lost the audio for it. So it was a little awkward here, but hopefully you guys still learned a fair amount. Yeah. Final mission. And that will be the upcoming one. So I'll catch you guys in that.